Hey guys, it's Jensen. Let's talk about what I've been reading this week. So this week has been a really good reading week for me. I read one book this week and picked up a couple of others. So I feel like the slump is finally about to come to an end. However, before I get to those books, I just real quick wanted to update you on a book that I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I said I picked up, The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. I said that I was 50 pages in. I'm still only 50 pages in. I was going to pick it up this week, but I just don't feel compelled to continue reading it. There's not much going on, which is a shame because I really want to like this book. This book has a lot going for it. It has two great, mature, adult characters who know what they want and are successful in their careers, and the romance is easy and healthy, and that's refreshing. And there's a lot of diversity and representation, and I just really want to love this book. However, there's just not much as far as plot goes, and so it's just, there's nothing that makes me want to continue reading it. And this is the second time that I felt like DNFing this book, so I feel like that might be a sign that this book just isn't for me. So let me know in the comments if you've read this and you think it's worth continuing to read. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to DNF it and try another one of this author's books because I've heard good things, and maybe just this isn't the right book for me, so maybe I'll just try something else. So yeah. So this week I finished one book, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. It was such a smart thriller. It goes in so many directions that you don't think it's gonna go, or you're like, how does this relate to everything that's been established before? But it works, and it's done really smartly. And I just love a good, intelligent thriller that has, because twists don't always work for me. I have a hard time with them sometimes if they go in a completely off the rails direction, and this book never does that. It is setting everything up in a way that you don't necessarily see it coming, but once you get there, you're like, oh my gosh, you were leading us here this whole time and I didn't even see it. It's really good. It's well written. The characters are great and likable, and you want to root for them. The story, it's set in Sweden, and it follows this reporter. He's a financial reporter who is basically he's in the aftermath of basically a scandal. He wrote this libelous article against this very powerful, wealthy businessman in Sweden, and basically he's now facing jail time. His career is tarnished, and he gets a mysterious offer for a job from this man who once also used to be this really big business tycoon, but since then business has kind of been struggling. But anyways, he basically says, hey, I need you to solve this 40-year-old mystery for me, and if you can do it by the end of a year, then I will help you get that guy who previously sued you for libel. So he's basically working to solve this mystery that no one was able to solve. And you may think that that sounds unlikely, that like, how is this guy gonna solve the mystery? And why is he being hired by this guy? But a lot of it gets explained in the book, and it's a great setup and just really well done. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, if this sounds up your alley, I will warn you, because one of the things that made me nervous to pick this up is I knew that it delves into sexual violence against women, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to read something like that. I did go to Goodreads and saw reviews from people that I trust, and so I thought, well, maybe it will be fine. So I decided to pick it up, and I will say, don't get me wrong, like, there is a lot of stuff in here that can be triggering. So if this sounds interesting to you, be aware of that. If that's something you're sensitive toward, rape and sexual violence toward women, that is something that comes up in this book. But I did feel like it wasn't exploitative. It just gave you the bare minimum of what you needed to know, basically, to get the point across. And then a lot of it's closed door, so it's not explicit. It just kind of hints at what happened without going into detail, which I really appreciated because I didn't want to read super detailed, horrible, horrific scenes. There's nothing like that, I felt like, in this book. So I did feel safe and well taken care of, exploring these darker and horrific things. I felt like the author handled it very well, and very intelligently and with sensitivity. So, yeah, really liked it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention. The first chapter, your eyes will glaze over a little bit. It's a little bit more boring because it gets into more of some of the financial stuff as sort of the backstory for why he's being sued for libel. It's really boring. But after that, the story will suck you in and grip you and hold you tight, and I compulsively read it. I couldn't put it down. So highly, highly recommend, but be aware of those things that can be triggering in this book. So yeah. So I also picked up 2 books this week. The first one was Close to Shore by Michael Capuzzo. This one is the one about the shark attacks in 1916 in New Jersey. I'm about 42 pages in, and it's doing a lot of setup, and it's taking a while for that. But I do think it's important to give the context of what people knew about sharks at this time, because there wasn't a lot. They were either considered to be myths, or, there's just a lot they didn't know about sharks at that time because people weren't swimming in the beach or in the ocean and stuff. And anyway, so it's just giving that sort of historical context, which is interesting, but it's taking a while to get to the point of the book, the meat of the book. So there's that. And then also I feel like some of the information in this is a little bit outdated. I actually looked to see when it was written because I was like, I feel like some of this is a bit outdated. It was written in 2002. I feel like we've learned a lot more about sharks since then, so just bear that in mind when reading this book. But I am still interested to find out more about this historical event of these shark attacks in 1916. I'm curious to know what that was like, especially for people who didn't know a lot about sharks at the time. Now that I know that, I want to know more about how they reacted to this and what the public reaction was. And yeah, I'm just curious, even though I do wish it was a little bit more updated. Yeah, I guess we'll see what I can learn from this. And I just wanted to point out that my bookmark game is on par. If you can see that, I picked the perfect bookmark for this book. Let me just say, by accident, because I just took it from the other book that I was reading, but it goes so well with it, and it makes my heart happy. So I'm enjoying this. Not too much to say because I haven't gotten into the actual shark attacks yet. It's just still setting it up, but it's well written and interesting. So yeah. And the other book that I picked up this week was The Dutch House by Ann Patchett. I don't have too much to say about this one because I'm only like 2 chapters in. It's very readable and very well written and easy to read. Like, I've been reading the first 2 chapters pretty quickly. It's reminding me a little bit of The Last Romantics by Tara Conklin, which I read last year, and I enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that this one will give me similar vibes and will be a similar reading experience. I'm not sure that this has anything to do with that book, but it's just making me feel the same way I felt when I was reading that book. So really liking it so far. But again, I'm only 2 chapters in. Don't have much to say. So yeah. So this week I decided to DNF The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. Again, if you feel like this is something that you think is worth reading, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll finish it if enough people can convince me that it's worth the time. I finished The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was so great. 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. We'll see if I continue on with the series because I'm nervous. I have anxiety about things that are more personal. But anyways, yeah, I loved that. And then I picked up The Coast to Shore by Michael Capuzzo and The Dutch House by Ann Patchett, and looking forward to continuing them next week. So thank you so much for watching this video. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.